They say the West teaches you about mercy, but it was the kind of lesson that leaves scars. If you've ever wondered how a person decides to leave a child behind, let me tell you, it doesn't come easy, and it doesn't let you sleep after. That morning, the storm was barely gone, but the mud still sucked at our boots and the sky pressed down heavy like it knew what we were about to do. Eliza, only 8, sat propped against the thick trunk of an old oak, her blue dress clinging to her skin, and I swear, she looked so small I almost convinced myself she'd just vanish if I blinked. Samuel Hartwell stood off to the side, hands tied on his hat, eyes fixed anywhere but on the girl. The rest of us, we huddled by the wagons, whispering behind our palms, glancing everywhere but at her. Nobody wants to admit what survival costs out here. You get used to burying things, the dead, your mistakes, the shame you feel every time you trade kindness for another mile down the trail. She's burning up, Martha Hartwell choked, voice splintered. She won't make it. Samuel's jaw worked, but his eyes stayed hard. Leave supplies, water, some food. If she gets better, she'll find our tracks, he announced, but no one believed it. Out here, fever was a death sentence. No medicine, no hands to cool your brow, just cold logic and the long trail ahead. Eliza's eyes followed the wagons as we left, her face blank, too tired even to plead. The wheels cut through the mud, and by the time the ridge swallowed us up, she was just a memory sitting under that oak, wrapped in a blue dress that would haunt us all. The wild, of course, doesn't care about our guilt. It moves on, with or without us. Eliza closed her eyes and let the fever pull her under, never hearing the soft shuffle in the brush or seeing the yellow eyes watching from the shadows. Wolves had been trailing us for days, hungry for scraps, at least, that's what we thought. But what happened next is the kind of story that sounds like a lie, unless you've seen the wild decide for itself what's right and wrong. As the world narrowed to a haze, a great gray wolf stepped into the clearing, silent as the mist rising off the ground. Eliza woke to that stare, yellow, unblinking, too smart to be animal and too wild to be human. Fear jolted her, but the wolf just sat, cocking its head, and before long, others slipped out behind it. 5, 6, maybe more. They circled, watched, waited. She remembered the warnings. Wolves eat the weak. They show no mercy. But these wolves did nothing. Didn't snarl, didn't approach, just settled in, watching her in a way that felt almost like, well, curiosity, maybe even concern. The hours passed in a fever dream. Sometimes Eliza thought she was alone, only to blink and find those eyes still locked on her. Thirst burned through her, the water Samuel left just out of reach, her body refusing to move. That's when the silver-furred she-wolf broke the spell, picked up the canteen strap in her jaws, and dragged it to Eliza, close enough for a desperate, shaking hand. Eliza drank, the water cold and clean, spilling down her chin as if she hadn't a care in the world. The wolves watched, tails flicking in a way that looked almost proud, but the wild never lets you rest. Late that day, a low growl rolled down from the rocks above, the cry of a mountain cat, one of those big cats that can pull down a deer and scatter men with rifles. The wolves went tense, forming a barrier around the girl, the silver she-wolf stepping between Eliza and danger, her body stiff, lips curling just enough to show what she could do if forced. The cat screamed, the sound knifing through the trees, but those wolves stood their ground. It was a standoff, predator against predators, the odds dead even. The cat slunk away, maybe deciding that 6 wolves weren't worth the risk. Night fell cold and cruel, fever rattling Eliza's bones, her dress useless against the chill. That's when the she-wolf pressed up beside her, warm and solid, and the others joined in, a wall of fur and muscle shielding the girl from the wind. For the first time since we left her, Eliza slept without fear. She woke to the sounds of wolves feeding, blood and bone, and the raw mechanics of survival on display. Hunger clawed at her 2 days, maybe more, with nothing but scraps. The silver wolf tore a piece from the kill and brought it to Eliza. Civilization teaches you to fear raw meat, but civilization had abandoned her. She ate, slowly at first, then ravenous, her body grateful for anything that staved off the ache. Days blurred together. The wolves hunted, returned, and shared. They guarded her, slept beside her, even taught her. Eliza learned the silent signals, the tilt of an ear, the flick of a tail, when to freeze, when to hide. The pack's rhythm became her own. The fever broke. Strength crept back into her bones. She began to feel less like a scared little girl, more like something in between, half-wild herself. 7 days passed. Then the sound of wagon wheels, the clatter of voices, drifted in on the morning wind. The wagon train, forced back by a blocked pass, returned not for Eliza, but out of necessity. Samuel sat rigid as his oxen crested the rise, expecting to find bones and maybe the blue dress tangled in brambles. Instead, he saw something else: Eliza, alive and alert, 6 wolves lounging beside her like guardians from some old legend. The camp froze. Parents clutched their children, eyes wide. Samuel, rifle in hand, moved slow, trying to square what he saw with what he knew. "Eliza, are you hurt?" he called, the words heavy. Eliza stood, steadier than she had any right to be, the she-wolf at her side. "They took care of me," she said, voice low, but it carried across the clearing. The wolves tensed. The camp tensed harder. Samuel raised his rifle, and that's when it all snapped. Eliza threw herself in front of the wolves, hands raised. "Don't you dare," she shouted, raw and real, and for a heartbeat, nobody moved. Not the men, not the wolves, not even the wind. "You left me to die. They saved me," she spat, fist clenched. Martha broke down, rushing forward. "We came back for you, Eliza." But the girl's eyes hardened, grown cold with the truth even adults wouldn't speak. "You came back because you needed a new path, not because you cared." The words cut deep, but nobody argued. Behind the wagons, whispers spread like fire. Children peered at Eliza, some in awe, some afraid, as if she were something dangerous or holy. The she-wolf stayed close, head level with Eliza's shoulder, her message clear: "This child belongs to us now." Samuel's grip tightened on his rifle. "They're wild animals," he snapped. But Martha pleaded, "They're not hurting her. They're protecting her." Samuel couldn't accept it. The world he knew didn't have room for girls raised by wolves. He aimed. Martha lunged, shoving the rifle upward as it fired, the shot splitting the morning, birds exploding from the trees. "Enough." Martha's voice cracked through the silence, fierce and unyielding. "I won't let you do this again." The wolves scattered, all but the she-wolf, who stayed, hackles up, defiant. Eliza felt a calm settle in. She looked at the faces that had once meant safety and saw only fear and regret. "I'm not going with you," she said. The clearing froze. "No child says that. Not out here. You left me, and they kept me alive. This is my family now." Even Samuel lowered his gun, defeated, as another man spoke up. "Let her go. Some things are bigger than what we understand." Martha placed a bundle near the oak: blanket, dried meat, a knife. "If you change your mind, find us beyond the red rocks." Eliza didn't answer. She turned to the forest, the pack fanning out around her, the she-wolf by her side. The wagons rolled away, the trail carved a little deeper into the mud, but nobody dared look back. People talk about that mountain pass for years, a girl who ran with wolves, half myth, half warning. Some say she was cursed, others blessed. But the truth is, she found something most folks never do: a home, loyalty that didn't fail, and a freedom as wild as the land itself. So what would you have done? Leave her behind, trust in civilization, or embrace the wild when it offers you a hand? Drop your thoughts below. Who do you think was right? Where do you draw the line between mercy and survival? I'd love to hear your take.